Hello, so today we are going to talk about a subject that gathers by affecting everyone. We have chosen this one because every one of you have an opinion on it, so we choose cyber tracking. Cyber tracking is a phenomenon which was born at the same time of the rise of the new technologies. It can be defined by the fact that every word, message, or movement is going to be captured, analyzed, and exploited in order to collect information about everyone. So cyber tracking is one, if it's not the most important debate nowadays. Uh, if it can help for the good health of by collecting data for the good health of the nation, by avoid terrorism, for example, this also have to get into your private information. Second point is that all the information might be sold to companies that allow them to propose more personal advertising for everyone. So today we are going to explain how this works, an example of a company, and some solution to take care of our information. So first of all, we need to explain the rise of the new tech, the rise of the tracking. So since the 19th, the appearance of the new technologies changed the way we were living. So a lot of action now go through the internet and are saved. So the basic things we did now helped by the use of technologies, like for example, you no longer have to go to do your shopping. Thanks to internet, someone can deliver you your shop and you buy by internet. So this is a good example of tracking because the website where you do your shopping save your data and analyze them to propose you more personal experience of your shopping. If they see you like ice cream, when there will be a promotion for that product, you will be warned. So tracking is working by collecting data from every customers, and there is a different way to use them. So either the company or the website use it by himself, or it sold them to the company that can use it. So we can name some big company to do that. Google is one of the most important website to use it, the tracking. Its website was created by the help of the NSA and the CIA. So Google was created to serve as mass espionage and collect the most data market on people, which is why it was created. Was held by the American Intelligence Service. As you know, NSA and CIA are service secret that need to have the most important database on everyone, like I said before, for example, to avoid terrorism. So if they have a lot of information, they can know who helps the terrorism and avoid another attentat, for example. So there is a market for personal data which differ with different price depending on its usefulness, as for example health data that could be used by insurance. You are more likely to be refused an insurance if you are diabetic or alcoholic, for example, or banking data for bank if you want to get some money. Google created a Google Ads, which is the advertisement program on this web. On the web, it is used for customers or personal utilizer to create advertisements. Uh, this allowed people or company to create ads that will be displayed on the screen of people who might be the target of the ad. It depends, for example, on the location. You might have ads for skipper if you live in the mountains, but you will not have these ads if you live in Bretagne, for example. But it also saves the habits of your Google research. For example, if you always look for a restaurant, you will have ads for restaurant in your location. This shows that information is all backup and Google has exclusively created a site to deal with it. So people perfectly aware of the ongoing mass espionage, but they don't necessarily have any reaction. So we can ask ourselves how far we are going to go to avoid terrorism, for example, and are you okay to deal your banking data just to avoid terrorism, for example?
I now like to move on to social networks, and especially Facebook. When I say Facebook, I also included Instagram, WhatsApp, and Messenger. And I'm sure most of you use them almost every single day. You know, it's not a coincidence that Facebook bought Messenger and WhatsApp, two instant messaging applications. Now, let's look at this. Everyone here, you have already had the experience of this. You're talking with your friend on Messenger about these beautiful Zara shoes you would like to buy, or your next vacation in Barcelona with your group of friends. And a few hours later, you go on Facebook or Instagram feed, and you see another red shoes or promotion for villa in Barcelona. Will you tell me coincidence? We get it. Facebook is watching you and collecting personal information about you, your family, and your friends. In addition to my study, I work with company on advertising campaigns on Facebook. And believe me, Facebook's advertising tools are very, very powerful. For example, you can add a tracker on a website called Pixel Facebook. It records all your activity on the website and makes the link between your visits and your Facebook profile. Let me rephrase that. We know who you are with a simple visit or a simple click. From there, everything is possible. And you can go even further. If you click on Add to Cart, but you don't want to validate your order, we can show you a very specific ad on your Instagram feed, like 10% in your item on your card. Targeting is extremely precise. We can choose to show ads only to particular type of people that correspond to your target audience. Here I am on the Facebook Manager business, and as you can see, I can choose location, the age, and interests. All this is possible thanks to the tracking Facebook does on all its applications. So if you have a Facebook account, you are tracked. So I'm asking you, were you conscious of the tracking, at least of these tools made available to company for your targeted? You may think that it helps to have advertising in accord with your interests, that it improves your experience on Facebook and Instagram, and that you don't want to see an ad about planting in Tanzania. I agree with you, and Facebook as well, because the more time you spend on Facebook and Instagram, the more ads you see, the more money Facebook makes, because it gets paid per print. For example, a company will pay 10 euros to display to 1,000 people. But that is a problem. Have you heard about the Mark Zuckerberg case? The founder boss of Facebook was heard in the front of Congress to explain himself on the excesses of Facebook, notably that of the British company Cambridge Analytica. It analyzed the data of tens of millions of users without their knowledge. And Cambridge Analytica's practices extend to the voluntary dissemination or false information, spying on political opponents, using prostitutes and corruption to manipulate public opinion abroad. So Facebook is not all right. I will end up giving up a type and can check which company have imported your data into Facebook for ad targeting purposes. On your Facebook account, click on the small arrow at the top right of the screen. Select Settings and Privacy, and then Settings from the menu on the left. After, on your Facebook informations, select Access your informations. Scroll on the bottom page, click on Off Facebook Activity and click here. Now you have the number of applications and websites tracking you thanks to Facebook. I really advise you to take a look, and I'm sure you will be surprised.
Then we will focus on how to protect yourself from tracking. First, use multiple internet or profile browser. The choice of internet browser is already a first step in protecting against user tracking. Indeed, Google Chrome follows the conditions of use of Google products and collects information which is transmitted to Google servers. Mozilla Firefox tries to respect privacy by limiting information retrieval as much as possible. Then, block tracking cookies. You can prevent tracking cookies from being created from extensions. Cookies are therefore text files managed by the web browser on the websites. Cookies are necessary for the operation of certain sites, but also have indirect uses. Indeed, they are also used to trace and track internet users. These are then called tracking cookies. To block cookies from a site, go to the settings of Google Chrome. You can then configure the behavior of Google Chrome with cookies. This filtering is done on a side-by-side basis with a few options that are global to all sites. Thus, you can prohibit cookies on a specific site or indicate which cookies to delete when closing Google Chrome. Then, change search engine. There are also alternative search engines which protect privacy and do not record web searches performed. For example, Quent and DuckDuckGo are search engines that respect privacy. Activating the tracking protection. Depending on the degree and view of privacy one has, this can be assimilated to voyeurism. Finally, some people can associate it with spyware. Some extensions of web browsers can block trackers and tracking. Firefox, Google Chrome, and Microsoft Edge include tracking protection. Anti-tracking and tracking extension. There are a few anti-tracker programs. Certain ad blockers offer functionalities for blocking tracking websites. No need to accumulate, a program like uBlock may be more than enough. Advertising blocking and user tracking protection extensions are available on all web browsers like AdWords or uBlock. Moreover, it's important to know that it's almost impossible to protect yourself at 100% from the tracking of internet users, especially if you use internet services like Facebook or Google. Then you can block trackers by DNS. There are DNS, domain name system, filtering solutions to block trackers. On this side, we find the P-hole project or NextDNS. NextDNS is a simple solution to set up to filter websites. We can even go further by using it as parental control. P-hole is an open source project that allows you to set up a DNS server to block advertising on trackers. It's terrifying more for advanced users. In conclusion, with the development of social networks like Facebook, companies have seen it as a huge advantage in reaching a lot of people thanks to the huge amounts of information they contain through tracking. Many think they are just social media apps, but behind is a less rosy reality. This is starting to cause ethical problems, but in today's world, money is king, and the sale of personal information has become a market in its own right. There are several means of protection against cyber-tracking. It's important to take them into account and use them in order to preserve our private life and the confidentiality of our research. But it all depends on our vision of private life.